So in previous video we completed the Redis setup, and in this video we will start implementing the movies schema and ultimately the movies API that in turn will use the participants schema that we previously added. So let us quickly start. So here also we will follow the same process. First we will create the schema. From the schema we will write the repository CRUD method. From there we will write the service and then link that service to the controller, and that controller we will attach it to the index.js. So let us quickly start. So what I will do here, inside repository schema I will add a new file movies schema.js, and here what I will do, so we will follow the same process that we did for the participant schema. So what I will do, I will quickly import mongoose. Then what I will do, I will create the movie schema. So for that I will say const movie schema equals to new mongoose dot schema, and I will pass a configuration object. Now in this configuration object, what values I should add? So what I am planning to do is add movie name, description, duration, rating and genre, right? So let me quickly add that for you. So if you see here, I have added movie name, movie description, duration, rating and genre, and this genre is of type enum, movie genre, right? And this I will add in the constants.js. So here I have added movies genre. I will save this one and I will come here and import it here in the movie schema that is attached here, right? So if I click on this one, I'll come to these many genres. So these are the genres that is allowed in our API. Later on we'll add validation, so that if somebody is adding a value other than what we are giving in the movie genre array, it will straight away throw error. Now in movie schema we will add few more fields. Now this is all standalone fields. All of these are within the movie schema. Now I want to add few relationship so that it will take some data from the participant schema. So what I want to add, let me first add a property called producer, right? So who is the producer of this movie? So for this what I will do, I will say type. Now what will be the type of this one? Type of this one will be mongoose dot schema dot types dot object id. That means this producer will point to a object id of mongoose schema type. What it will refer to, this object type belongs to which schema? So here I will say participants, right? That means this producer is of type object id and it refers to the participants schema. Similarly, I can create a director. So director also follows the same pattern as producer. It is referring to participants table and the type is a mongoose object id type. Then what I want to add? I want to add actors, plural. So in one movie there is one producer, one director and multiple actors. So that is the design that I am going to follow. So I will add actors, so I am naming it plural, then I am giving this array, and within this array I will pass the configuration. So here type will be same as this one. This will be object id, mongoose object id. So I'll copy and paste, and similarly reference. So it refers to the same table, but the only difference is I can add one producer, one director, but multiple actors. So that is what this array symbol is. I can add multiple actors. Now let me quickly create the model and export it. So with this, our movies schema is done. Now let us quickly go to the repository and create the movies repository using this schema. So I'll come to repository, I'll minimize the schemas, then repository, new file, I will say movies repository.js. So in the previous video of participants, we have already seen how we are creating the repository. In this video, let us quickly write the movies repository following the same pattern as that of the participants repository. So first thing what I need the movies schema. So let me quickly import that one. And what else I need mongoose. So let me quickly import that also. Now let me quickly add the first function, that is get all movies. Now what we will do, we will use the find method. So what I will say, const result equals to await movie dot find everything. So I'm not giving any filter condition, right? So this will find all the movies. Then along with this movie, I want to populate the producer, director and actors field. So for that, what I will use this populate method. So what this populate method will do, it will take the property that you want to populate in the movie query. So what I will say, I'll say producer, and I'll pass one more property, what fields from the producer I want to remove. So here I'll say minus underscore id. This underscore id is internal MongoDB implementation, which in this movies query I don't want to expose it to the outside world. So that's why I'm subtracting the underscore id from the population. And I'll also remove role, because anyways this says producer. So from producer I don't want to export the role again. That's why I'm subtracting the role field as well. Then let us populate the director. So I will say populate director, and similarly remove minus underscore id and minus role. So let me do a little indentation. Then what I will do, I will say populate actors, and similarly here also I'll remove the id and role. Then I'll do a validation if result. Then what I'll do, here I will check if not result, I will return null. If there is a result, I will return the result. Simple. Then let us quickly write the method to get a single movie by id. So let me first create the method, and here in the parameter I'll take movie id. Then what I will do, I will have to first do the validation if it is a valid Mongo id or not. So if you remember from the participants repository, so this is the logic. If not of mongoose dot types dot object id dot is valid, then do a console log and return null. Then what I can do, I can use this method. I'll copy this one and I'll populate the result, but here instead of find, I'll say find by id, and I will pass the movie id, and I'll do the same thing, populate all the producer, actor and director. Then if not of result, then return null, otherwise return result. right? Very simple. Only difference is this validation and find by ID instead of simple find all. Then this is also done. Then let us quickly add the create movie method. So here in the function I am taking the movie object. Then what I will do, I'll say const new movie equals to new keyword, then movie schema, and pass the movie object. So this will create an in-memory object of the movie schema. Then to move it actually to the database, what I have to do, await new movie dot save. This line will actually save it to the database. Till the new movie, it is just an in-memory object. Then what I can do, I will return new movie. Then what is our next method? It is update movie. So let me quickly add the method. Now this method is taking two parameters. One is movie ID and one is movie object. So first thing what we will do, we will add a validation if this is a valid MongoDB ID or not. So I will copy this one, add it here. So this will do the validation. Then what I will do, I will use find by ID and update method to do the updation. So for that what I will do, I will say const result equals to await movie dot find by ID and update, and this will take two parameters. One is movie ID, second one is the movie object, and another configuration object that will say new true. That means it will return us the new updated object, not the old one. Otherwise it will return the old object that we have seen in the participants repository. Then what we will do, if not of result, I will return null, otherwise return result. Simple. Then let us quickly add the delete method. So here as parameter we will take the movie ID. Then what we will do, we will do a validation if this is a correct movie ID or not. Then what we will do, we will say const result equals to await movie dot find by ID and delete, and I will pass movie ID. Then what I can do, here I am planning to return boolean whether the delete was successful or not. So I will say if not of result, then return false, otherwise return true. So with this our basic movies repository is completed. Then let us quickly jump to the service and add the service methods. So here what I will do, I will in this service I will create a new file and name it as movies service.js. Now let us quickly revise what we have done in participant service. So if you see here, we are importing all the methods from the participants repository. Then we are taking all the method from Redis helper. Then what we are doing, we are creating the Redis key and Redis cache duration, and from there first what we are doing, we are checking if the data is in the Redis or not. If not, get it from the repository, set it again into the Redis and send the response. Right, same thing we are doing in get single participant by ID, and what we are doing in create, update and delete, we are doing cache invalidation. So we will follow the ditto same principle for participants repository as well. So here I'll try to move a little quick and implement the movies service. So first what I will do, I will import all the necessary methods from both the movies repository as well as from the Redis helper, right? So get all movies, get single movie, create movie by name, update movie by ID and delete movie by ID. This I have taken from movies repository, and I have taken all the Redis helper method, get data, set data and invalidate key. After that, what I want to do, I want to create two Redis constants. So for that, what I will do, I will say const Redis key is equal to movies and cache duration is 3600. This is in seconds, that means 1 hour. So the Redis key will sit there for 1 hour. Now let us quickly add our first method, get movies. So this will get all movies. So let me quickly add the function signature. So this will take the request and response object. Then what I will do, first let us check the Redis if we have the movies available there. So I will say const result from Redis equals to await get data from Redis, and what I will pass, I will pass the Redis key. Then if result from Redis, that means if I find the result from the Redis, I will return that one. So I will say console.log found data from Redis, and let us also log the data. Then response dot status of 200, and in the JSON object what I will send, result from Redis. If I could not find the data from the Redis, I will go to the repository method. So I will say const result equals to await get all movies. This is coming from here, get all movies, that is coming from movies repository. Then I will add a console.log found data from the database and log the data. Then what we will do, we will set the data to Redis. So I will say await set data to Redis, and I will pass the Redis key. After that I will pass the object that I want to store, and after that I will pass the Redis cache duration. This line will set the result in Redis key for Redis cache duration. Then what I will do, I will say response dot status of 200, and the JSON that we will pass will be the result. So get all movies is done. Let us quickly add get single movie. So let me quickly add the function signature. Let me quickly add that method. Then what we have to do, first we have to fetch the ID. That ID will come from the request params. So I will say const ID equals to request dot params dot ID, or fallback to 0. If params is not there or if ID is not there, it will handle it gracefully. Then what we have to do, we have to get the data from Redis. So I will borrow this line and add it here. Then if I find the data from the Redis, then what I will do, I will add this console log, find data from Redis. Now what I have to do, I have to find the movie with this particular given ID, because this will return me the array of all movies that we have stored. So for that, what I can do, I will say const movie equals to result from Redis dot find what result is the parameter for the callback function. So I will say result dot id triple equals to the id that we are retrieving from request dot params. If this is the case, I will say result dot status of 200 and JSON. I will pass the movie object, this one that I have found, and after that we will say return. And here I should add a return statement, otherwise it will continue executing these lines. So this part is done. If the result is not found in the Redis, then what we will do, we will call the repository method. So const movie equals to await. So await get single movie by id and pass the id. So this is this id that we are passing here. Then here we will check if this movie is actually found or this id doesn't exist. So if not of movie, then return null, right? But if I find this movie, what I will do, I will say I'll just add a console log found movie from the database, and then I will set the response status, so which will be 200 and JSON data will be our movie object that we are getting from the repository method, right? So get single movie by id, the repository method is used in this service method get movie by id. Then let us quickly add the create movie method. So I'll first add the method signature. Now from the request body, I will extract the movie object. So I will say const movie obj equals to request dot body, or fallback to an empty object if body is not there. Then const result equals to await create movie by name, and I will pass the movie object. Now after this, what I will do, I have to invalidate the Redis key, otherwise in the get operation we will not get this newly created movie. So await invalidate key and pass the Redis key. After that, we'll set the response dot status, and here status will be 201, that is resource created dot JSON. And in the JSON, what I will do, I will pass the result object. Then let us add the update method. So as usual, I will add the method signature. Then I will extract the movie object as well as the id. So how I will extract the id? So this is the syntax. So I will borrow this line and add it here. Then how to get the movie object? That is coming from this line. So I will borrow that and add it here. Then I will call the repository method. So const result equals to await update movie by id, right? And so the first parameter that it will take is the movie id, and second one will be the movie object. Now if we do not get any result, this id doesn't exist or update, for some reason it failed, so we will check if not of result, then we will set the response dot status of 404 not found and JSON, and we will add a message. So message, we will say movie not found, then we will return. Otherwise we will do this, invalidate the Redis cache. Then what value we will return? We will return the 200 status. So I will borrow that line and add it here. So status will be 200. That means update was successful. Now let us quickly add the delete method. So first thing what I have to do, I have to get the ID. So I will borrow this line and add it here. Then I will call the repository method. So I will say const status equals to await delete movie by id, and we will pass the id. Then if not of status, that means if the movie deletion was not successful, what we will say, we will borrow these two lines. So it is the same error, 404 not found, movie not found. Now if this is found, I will invalidate the Redis key and I will borrow this line and add it here, but the final response status will be 204. That means no content. I am not sending any content because it was deleted, right? That's what 204 no content means. Now the service methods are done. Now what we will do, we will attach it to the controller. So I will go to the controller and create a new movie controller. So movie controller.js. Then what I have to do, first thing that I have to do is import express. Then what I will do, I will import all the service methods. Then after this I will create the route handler. So const router equals to express dot, then I will say router dot get on which path slash, and what we will attach here, I'll say get movies. Then router dot get, then this path colon id, and here what I will do, get movie by id. Here we will pass the movie id after this slash, so it will point it to get movie by id service method. Then router dot post on which path, root path, and what method we will attach, we will attach create movie. Then router dot put method, and here we will add this colon id path, and what we will update here, update movie. Then router dot delete, then we will pass the id. So I'll say slash colon id and delete movie. then export default router. This is also done. Now what we have to do, we will come to index.js, and after this participants, I will import movies from dot slash controllers slash movie controller.js. So it is giving this error express or unidentified identifier express. So we will go to the movies controller and see this should be within this quote marks. So I will add. Then if you see, we are getting another error which says movie repository not found, cannot find module movie repository in movie service. So let us check the movie service. Here this is movie repository. Here if you see, it is movies repository. So I will add one S here, movies repository, and I will save it. Then we will go to, it is saying another error, cannot find module constants. So this is in movies schema. So let us open movies schema, and here it should be constants.js, right? Then I will save it. Then Redis helper. So I have come to movies service. It says invalidate key is not a valid export. So I will open the Redis helper, and if you see here, the method name is invalid key. So I will update it here and update it here as well as here and here, and I will save it. Now application is running. Now application has properly started, right? Then we'll continue on the index.js. So index.js, we have this movies imported. This we will attach it on app.use/movies, and which router will attach? Will attach the movies router, this one. Then what we will do, we will save it. Now let us go to the Postman and start firing some request and validate our code. So I find this one interesting bug in Postman extension in the VS Code. So what I was doing, I was just playing around behind the recording, and I was trying to call get all movies, and from the database I have deleted everything. But when I do a call on get all movies, interestingly I am getting some data here, right? But if you see the console, it says found data from Redis as an empty array. But if you see this Postman UI, it is displaying some data, right? And when I go to the Postman console, I will clear everything and I will run this again. So if you see the log here, response body is coming as empty, but if you see here, it is still displaying some old cached data. Might be, not sure what is the issue, but the response body that is coming from API is empty, but for some reason Postman is still showing this data that I previously tried to enter. And when I try to hit the URL, this same URL from a browser, right, it is giving me empty array, right? If I resend this one and if I click enter, I'm still getting an empty array. And when I'm trying to hit this in Postman, right, get all movies, I'm still getting empty array. But for some reason, this Postman extension in the VS Code is still displaying some old cached data. So not sure if it's a configuration issue or it's a actual bug, but I've cleaned everything, restarted the Docker, restarted the VS Code, everything, but it is still showing this old data. And as such, the response body is still coming as an empty object. So we will do all testing here on this Postman app, not on the Postman VS Code extension. So what I have done, I have added few participants. So if I send, I have added some actor, director, producer, and another actor. So this thing I have added to the database. Then I will come to create movie. So we have already seen get all movie. It is coming as empty because we don't have anything. So I will come to create movie, and for the movie name, description, and genre, I have added few value. Now producer. So I will come here, get all participants. I will take a producer ID, copy it, and add it here. Then director. So I will come here, pick a director and add it here, director, and then one actor. Let me pick. So I will pick this actor and I will update it. So I'm passing a complete movie object, and here this producer, actors, and director, they have ID which is coming from this participants database. So what I will do, I will send the request, and if you see, I'll get the response. Then when I'll do get all movies, right, I'll get this one movie. Then we will do the update, and before doing the update, when I was testing it on my own before recording, what I found, movies service, here update movie, this JSON that we are sending, it should be this result object, not the movie, because we don't have any variable here called movie. So it was throwing error. And here also, since I copied it from here, I have copied movie, but for 204 no content, I have to send no content. That means I don't have to send anything. So it should be empty JSON object, right? So these two issue I found when I was running some tests. Then coming back to Postman movies. So we have inserted a movie. So if you see here, I'll send it again. So say the movie duration is 148 and movie rating is 8.8. Now let us try doing some update. So I will come here to the body, and what I will do, I will copy these three because here I have some old data that I was playing around. So I will update it with the latest value with which we have done the create. Then what I am doing here, movie, earlier in the create movie it was 148 and 8.8. Now what I want to do, I want to change it to 150 and 9.8. So I will run this one, and it says movie not found. Okay, because this movie ID is old one. So I will come here, get all movies. I will copy this ID and update it here. Then I will send the request. So here I get the updated value. Here movie duration and movie rating is updated. Now I will come here to get all movies, and if you see movie rating and movie duration, this is the old one, so I'll send the request, right? And if you see, we are getting the updated value, so that means create is working, update is working, get is also working. What is left? Delete. So I'll open the delete, then I will take this movie ID, then I will add it here, then I will send the request. So no content, if you see here, no content, that means it was deleted. Then I will come to get all movie and I will send the request. Now it is an empty object. So for movies we have completed the get, then read, then update, then delete. So all CRUD operation on the movies object is done. Now this is the get all movie. So I have added the movie object back here. What I wanted to show was how we are getting the reference table. So producer, director and actor, these three fields are coming from the participants table. So this is because of the populate function that we have added. Here I am getting the name and age for all of this, because I have removed the ID and role. What is left is name and age from participants. So these two value I am able to populate, and this value is coming from participants table. The reference is stored in movies, and if you see actor, this is an array, right? And here multiple object can exist. While creating, here I am sending it as an array. With comma I can add more values, and those values will reflect here. So this is the relationship we have created between the movies and its participants as producer, actor and director. So with this we have completed the movie schema, and in the next video we will start discussing middleware functions.